Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for joining us. The President Bola Tinubu administration is committed to providing sustainable developments for Nigerians and will do all it takes to ensure that they are not disappointed. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu gave the assurance at the Aurole Odua Palace of the Oni of Ife Oba Enitan Adeye Ogunwusi. She said the president was aware of the current challenges facing the country and is working hard to provide sustainable solutions. She reiterated her call on youth to position themselves for national rebirth by retaining their faith in the administration and embracing honest, hard work. While offering royal blessings, the Oni of Ife, Oba Ogunwusi, described the First Lady as a caring mother of the nation and appealed to all Nigerians to support the current administration. The First Lady is in Ile-Ife to inaugurate two key infrastructural projects, a 2.7-kilometer road named after her, and Ojaja male and female students' hostels and pavilion, all executed by the traditional ruler in her alma mater. Due to the complexities of her environment, the girl child in Nigeria has had challenges in accessing quality education, unlike her male counterparts. Seeking to mitigate such challenges, the Nigeria Governors Forum has organized the International Conference on Girl Child Education in Nigeria with the theme Girl Child Empowerment Through Quality Education. The forum is seeking to create actionable strategies towards ensuring that every girl child in Nigeria receives quality education through enhanced resource management, improving educational outcomes, and fostering collaboration on education policies. Steps to reduce challenges such as inadequate infrastructure, low enrollment rates, and a shortage of qualified teachers, which have hindered educational opportunities for girls in Nigeria, are also on the items for discussion.
Has to ensure we bear the responsibility of setting the tone for this nation, and there is no greater calling than to prioritize the education of the girl child and other at-risk children.
The Nigeria Governors Forum sees the conference as a significant step in ensuring that every Nigerian girl has access to education she deserves, ultimately empowering her to contribute meaningfully to society. The conference aligns with the United Nations General Assembly's Resolution 66170, which established the International Day of the Girl Child. In the meantime, 16-year-old female student Isabel Hanani today presided over a special plenary sitting of the House of Representatives to commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child, which is observed every October 11th. Now, being the last plenary day for the week, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas vacated his seat to allow Isabel to act as Speaker as the House passed resolutions to promote the welfare and well-being of the girl child in Nigeria.
I want a future where the healthcare system for girls isn't discriminated against due to the socio-cultural factors that so wrongfully exist. Girls are breaking boundaries regardless of the stereotypes and exclusion, which include the marginalization and living with disabilities.
That the leadership of the House to ensure the swift passage of bills that seek to protect women and girls, like the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Isabel was chosen for this prestigious role after emerging first among candidates across Nigeria following an open call and a rigorous interview process as part of our effort to empower young leaders.
On the sidelines, young Isabel shared her unique experience with National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen.
Vacate your seat for, a girl, an adolescent girl. So I think he's very open-minded, and bringing this initiative together means that he wants to see the change as well.
The theme for the 2024 International Day of the Girl Child is Girls' Vision for the Future. Minister of State for Education has flagged off a comprehensive teachers training program with the launching of sensitization materials aimed at embedding moral values into the country's educational curriculum. The minister says with the decline of ethical values, especially among Nigerians, it has become imperative to strengthen the moral framework of the education system and build future generations of learners and teachers, equipping them not just with knowledge, but with ethical and moral values.
We all also recognize that while academic achievement is important, the development of moral character, citizenship, and a sense of responsibility in our learners is just as critical to national development.
That this program is also not only for the children, it's for the teachers who have to be trained, but it's also for the parents and the communities. Because a lot of these problems sometimes do not necessarily emanate from the children. These problems also emanate from the parents.
Sets of sensitization manuals and posters are to be distributed nationwide. These will serve as a guide towards achieving positive behaviors of learners, both within and outside the classroom. The Senate is making a push for fairness in the conduct of local government council elections as legislators describe the current situation across states as a mockery of the rule of law. The Senate is therefore proposing a national dialogue involving stakeholders from across the states of the Federation to correct prevalent anomalies where outcomes do not reflect the will of the electorate. The legislators were reacting to the winner-take-it-all system in local council polls in Nigeria. They expressed disappointment over the situation and called for collective resolve to make a change for the better.
We're in charge of the laws, and we know what the problem is. If indeed local government election results are written 2-3 days before the elections are purportedly held, it behoves on us, the National Assembly, to give direction.
The constituted 18-member National Youth Service Corps Reforms Committee has submitted a 31-page draft document report to the Minister of Youth Development. Olayinka Ojo reports that the chairman of the committee, Kabir Oyekunle, while presenting the report, said the reforms are centered on how to make the NYSC more viable.
Most of our recommendations are centered on how to make the NYSC self-sufficient and sustainable, with a major focus on strengthening its ventures to be more efficient, profitable, while also providing a platform for training corps members.
Receiving the report, the Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Ibrahim Bio, said aside ensuring national unity, social integration and empowerment, the reforms are expected to serve as a guide for the future. She noted that the scheme will make the NYSC more socially and economically impactful.
Current state of the scheme, but also has made concrete recommendations for its improvement, closely with all stakeholders to implement sustainable reforms that will further strengthen the NYSC in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The 18-member NYSC Reforms Committee was constituted on the 26th of July, 2024. In other news, Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has inaugurated a fact-finding team on the face-off between Osun State Government and Segilola Resources Operating Limited. The fact-finding committee is expected to look into the circumstances that led to the sealing off of the gold mining company on accounts of alleged tax evasion and other infractions. Alake, however, restated the position of the federal government that mining belongs to the executive legislative list, and as such, subnationals have no powers to unilaterally disrupt mining operations across the country.
Now, the objectives of the committee are as follows. 1, to identify the root causes of the disagreement between the Osun State government and Secular Resources Operating Limited. 2, to review the contractual obligations and agreements between both parties to determine whether there have been breaches or misunderstandings. And 3, to assess the socio-economic, environmental, and legal aspects of the operations carried out by Secular Resources Operating Limited.
The minister has said it. The solid mineral is a very promising area that it promises to lift us out of our present condition. But with all these interferences, even the domestic miners cannot do their work.
Permanent Secretary, Solid Minerals Development Ministry, Mary Ogbe, is the chairperson of the committee, and it is to complete the assignment in 7 days. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has demonstrated its commitment to reducing waterway tragedies with a donation of more than 300 life jackets to the people of Gbajibo Riverine community in Mokwa local government area of Niger State, while also taking steps to increase surveillance on waterways to 24 hours. The Managing Director General, NIWA, Bola Oyebamiji, who gave this indication during an on-the-spot assessment and condolence visit to the families of the victims of the October 1st boat mishap, says stemming the spate of water transportation tragedies is sacrosanct. Musa Mikhail has details.
Buried here are the remains of the 43 victims of October 1st boat disaster that has caused untold grief to their families.
17-year-old Masouda Mohammed is one of those who lost their parents and loved ones in the October 1st boat mishap and still grieving. The visit by the National Waterways Authority was to sympathize with the community and to also find a lasting solution to the frequent boat mishaps on waterways. This commitment was further demonstrated through the donation of more than 300 life jackets to the people, while also ensuring all regulatory guidelines are adhered to.
We have what it takes to police the waterways. We have raised our bar. Those that violate, for those that travels at night, the code stipulates that when they are apprehended, we will charge them to court.
The managing director also promised the community a ferry speedboat and ambulance for rescue operation in case of emergency. Musa Mikhail, NTA News.
Let's talk electoral matters now with the escalation of votes in the Plateau State local government elections begin. Stakeholders are applauding the smooth conduct of the exercise across the state. Ndanyang Andeabagyang reports.
Disaster management and mitigation of impacts sometimes come with huge responsibilities on the shoulders of government. Now, with ECODIN, a 2-year project fully funded by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, being implemented by partners led by Christian Aid Nigeria in the states of Sokoto, Katsina, and Zamfara. Issues of climate impacts, natural and man-induced disasters will be effectively contained.
The program aims to enhance capacity of formal and informal disaster risk reduction institutions to support vulnerable communities while strengthening local ownership and participation across 6 LGAs in the 3 targeted states.
To ensure effective delivery of the project, Christian Aid Nigerian partners have also come up with a homegrown strategy that supports more proactive initiatives that will bridge the gaps in communication, funding, coordination responses, amongst other issues. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Birth registrations are crucial for the development purposes, but be it economic, social or political, as no nation can develop without it. The Imo State's Director National Orientation Agency, Selemaris Igwe, made this known while flagging off the NOA's campaign on the importance of birth registrations. Here is Doris Alex's report.
The National Orientation Agency, in collaboration with the National Population Commission with funding from UNICEF, is set to unveil birth registration exercise in Imo State, which is aimed at ensuring that every child in the state is registered and issued with a birth certificate.
If you don't register your child, you have denied that child access to government, things he's supposed to benefit as a child. Why it is so important right now is that time will come when they will no longer go door to door. It will now become projection.
993 adult volunteer registrars have been trained to go out and register children 0 to 5 years across localities in Imo State.
This is really a welcome development because a lot of people out there, our kids, doesn't have a birth certificate, and then this is an opportunity given to them to have this birth certificate.
The birth registration exercise is fixed to take effect from October to November 2024.
All right, we will now join our Port Harcourt Network Centre, and Debarbary is our guide. Hello, Debarbary.
Port Harcourt. Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru Abubakar has commended the Nigerian Army for its efforts in the improvement of oil production in the Niger Delta region. This was during his routine operational visit to 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt Barracks. The report. The visit of the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, to the 6th Division Nigerian Army is to commend troops for their resilience in the fight against criminality and oil theft in the region. He urged them to carry out their responsibilities in line with the mandate of the Chief of Army Staff towards the protection of the nation's infrastructure.
Continue to do the good job they are doing around here, and also see what has been going on the fight against crude oil theft in the region. Oil production have continued to increase, and I assure you, before the end of the year, you will see tremendous increase in the oil production in this country.
The minister also held a strategic session behind closed doors with the General Officer commanding 6th Division, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, and other officers on their operational tactics in combating oil theft and criminality in the region. He also inspected and inaugurated some projects in the barrack.
That is being constructed by the Army headquarters. Thank you.
5 suspected criminals and various recovered exhibits have been paraded and displayed by the Eastern Port Police Command in Port Harcourt. This was during a press briefing by the command in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene reports.
The 5 suspects were arrested for diversion of truckload of sugar, conspiracy and stealing of 118 bags of sugar belonging to a sugar company. The diverted truckload of sugar was being rebagged into different bags when the police swooped on them. The exhibits, the acting police public relations officer, SP Anjuguri Mansa, explained, were recovered following a forward attempt by some hoodlums to criminally vandalize port activities.
All suspects have confessed to the crime and made useful statements, helping the police in further investigation into the matter. Meanwhile, efforts are being intensified to arrest other suspects still at large. The 118 bags of sugar have been released on bond because of perishable goods. All suspects will be charged to court upon completion of investigation.
Besides this recent achievement by the Port Intelligence, the command had previously arrested some notorious vandal syndicates, some of whom were arrested and presently facing trials, while others escaped through the waters, and efforts are on to arrest the fleeing suspects. Items recovered from the suspected vandals include wooden boats, jack, saw blades, machetes, hammers, iron bar, spanners, chisel, cable wire, paddles, fire hose, crams, and axe saw. The command reiterates its commitment to providing a safe environment for the Nigerian Port Authority management and staff, port users, and other critical stakeholders to carry out their businesses and other activities. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Thanks for rejoining us here in Abuja. Let's now try again with our Jos reports. We tried to bring it to you earlier, but we're having some slight challenges, but I think the report is now ready. And as collation of votes in the Plateau State local government elections begin, stakeholders are applauding the smooth conduct of the exercise across the state. Let's get more details from Ndinyang and Deabagyang.
The elections, which held in the 17 local government areas of the state, were closely monitored by stakeholders.
The only little challenge we've seen so far is the fact that some of the apps have not started working at the time, and we're waiting for the technicians to come and help. But so far, everything has been going on very smoothly, and it's very impressive.
And I'm happy to see that the Plateau officials are very sensitive to persons with disability, to elderly persons, and to women.
The conduct of voters has encouraged management to improve on its performance in future exercise, describing as rewarding the sensitization carried out prior to the exercise. No case of violence was reported in all the polling units visited, a demonstration of maturity and patriotism. Meanwhile, results of the exercise are being expected as collation begins. In Jos, Ndenyan and Deabagyang, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu rejoices with the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority, Dr. Olufemi Ogunyemi, on his election to the board of the World Free Zone Organization. The President notes that Ogunyemi's election is a testament to the success of ongoing reforms in repositioning the economy, making it globally competitive and attracting foreign direct investments. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President urges him to use his elevation to showcase the renewed hope agenda on the global stage and integrate the Nigerian economy into the highly rewarding global economic ecosystem. Now, agriculture remains the mainstay of the cross-river state economy. Therefore, in sustaining this sector for the growth of the states, Revenue Multi-Stakeholders Committee on Cocoa, Coffee and Oil Palm is rallying support from traditional institutions for the establishment of cocoa estates in the state for the growth of the industry. Commissioner for Agriculture and Irrigation Developments Johnson Egbokpo disclosed this during a visit to Nsan and Awi clans in Akankwa local government area, where he solicited 2,000 hectares of land for the initiative. Oba Hyacinth reports.
Historically, Nigeria's economy relied heavily on agriculture, with cocoa serving as a major export product that significantly contributed to the state revenue and livelihood of its citizens. By promoting the establishment of cocoa plantations and estates, the state government aims to rekindle this vital sector. The commissioner, who was represented by his permanent secretary, Ekpe Basi, raised the economic of scales for the citizens and the state.
We have come here to seek your support and seek your consent.
In a show of solidarity, the royal father expressed their unwavering support.
It gladdened my heart that in my own time, this type of development is coming to my domain.
Agriculture, everybody is aware of it. It's a source of life.
This initiative is a step toward harnessing the agronomic potentials of the state. In Calabar, Oba Hyacinth, NTA News.
And to health matters, with staggering statistics indicating a significant portion of Nigerians are having mental health disorders, experts want governments and key stakeholders to prioritize issues of mental health care in the country. Serafina Okonu-Mekwe reports that practitioners saying that 1 in every 4 Nigerians is said to have suffered a mental disorder in their lifetime.
To optimally and efficiently deliver on tasks assigned in any sector of the economy, community, family and workplace, mental health experts advise they must be mentally fit, as there is no life without sound mental health.
There is never a better time to speak or to prioritize mental health than now.
Because it influences how we go about life. It basically defines our existence.
Mental health challenges can happen to anybody, you know. We are all susceptible to it.
Mental health care, though meant to be integrated into the National Health Scheme as mandated, still excludes treatment of people living with mental health conditions.
Depression, anxiety disorder had been incorporated, even though we noticed that the medications for those who have the illnesses are not often covered. But a recent review actually seems to have covered most of these, and that is meant to eliminate out-of-pocket expenses.
As Nigeria joins the global community to commemorate World Mental Health Day, on the average, every worker puts in about 8 to 12 hours at their workplaces. Thus, the theme, Mental Health at Workplace, simply advocates a conducive working environment, supporting persons mentally down as demanded by the National Mental Health Act. Serafina Okonu-Mekwe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, to curb the growing cases of cervical cancer in Nigeria, coordinated efforts through massive awareness creation, training and retraining of health workers, as well as other preventive and proactive measures, are needed for the enhancement of treatment of patients with cervical cancer. This was the view of health experts at the close of the Care Gaps Cervical Cancer Capacity Building Workshop, organized by the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment. Ese Onwamaka has details.
Cervical cancer is the commonest gynecological cancer affecting women, especially in low and middle income countries like Nigeria. Despite the availability of multiple preventive measures, this 3-day capacity workshop organized by the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, NICRAT, in the Southwest Zone is a testament to the government's efforts in providing effective and efficient leadership in cancer research, treatment, prevention and control.
The recent declaration of cancer as a notifiable disease in Nigeria by the federal government is a testament to the tireless effort of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and the NICRAT in the fight against all forms of cancer in Nigeria.
And then government has rolled out vaccination is the primary means of prevention. For those that pass the vaccination, then we come to screening.
There are various types of screening, from simple visual inspection to pap smear to HPV.
The Cancer Research and Treatment Institute, NICRAT, reiterates its commitment to work with all relevant stakeholders to combat and reduce to the barest minimum all forms of cancer in the country. In Lagos, Ese Onwamaka, NTA News.
In other news, education. Gender advocates insist remains the only key to drive all-round development of the girl child. This was the focus at an adolescent and mentorship town hall meeting, as Elizabeth Omori reports that issues hampering the advancement of the female gender were also raised.
We can do all things through the encouragement to give ourselves.
Advancing the cause of the girl child, Halima Ali says, requires enhanced economic opportunities, elimination of child marriage and access to education.
This is my vision for the future of girls. It is a future where we are educated, safe.
Multiple reports have it that girls across the globe are affected by global crisis of climate, conflict and poverty, denying them of their comfort. Reports on the 2024 International Day of the Girl Child reveal that globally, girls aged 5 to 14 spend more hours every day on unpaid care and domestic work.
Our girls need allies. Allies who listen, allies who invest, and allies who act.
Prioritizing how to keep these issues forefront, pressing the advocacy for both boys and girls, I maintain, so that their own future will be different from what we have experienced when it comes to discrimination.
The girls recommend access to reproductive health services and protection of their rights. Empowering them, they agree, will help them reach their full potential, promote gender equity and well-being. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And in the face of an increasing unemployment rate, the Department of Technology and Science Education, Federal Ministry of Education, is changing the narrative with the training of over 200 girls in vocations believed to be male-dominated. Young girls from across the country are in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State to receive training on painting with a view to becoming self-reliant. Umar Basedit reports.
These are girls drawn from federal science and technical colleges across the country, and today they take a bold step to delve into painting, a vocation which is most times seen as reserved for the men.
It helped me a lot because my dad can even beat the house. I asked him not to collect a paper, not to employ anybody that can help him.
It helped me in my future because at least now there is no job opportunities in Nigeria. After learning this painting, now when I grow up, I can use it and be earning a living for myself.
With the theme Painting into the Future, the Federal Ministry of Education, with the support of African Development Bank, brought together these students to chart a new course for their future.
So once we certify that you are good on that level, you are efficient on that level, we give you certificate, which is called National Skill Certificate.
You can see that here, there is a paint there already. It needs to be scraped, smoothened, prepared before you apply any other thing. So what they are doing now is surface preparation.
At the end of the 2 weeks training, the girls are not only expected to garner knowledge, but would also be certificated by NAPTEP. In Uyo, Umar Basedit, NTA News.
Let's stay with health-related matters. Like a storm, new psychoactive substances are sweeping through communities. They are potent, dangerous, and constantly evolving. Each time progress is made, the goalpost shifts, making it almost impossible for health workers to tame. Health experts have sounded the alarm and have resolved to address it head-on. This was the stark reality that took center stage at the 15th Biennial International Conference on Substance Abuse in Abuja. The conference provided a platform for health experts and policy makers to share strategies and solutions that may finally turn the tide. Haman Jabani reports.
The 15th Biannual International Conference on Drugs, Alcohol and Society in Africa, with the theme Improving Access to Treatment for Substance Use Disorder, Emerging Strategies and Persistent Challenges, is aimed at addressing different aspects of research on drugs and alcohol in African countries and how best to harness emerging strategies to combat the pervasive issue of substance abuse.
Treatment, in a sense, is a form of prevention.
If the capacity of primary health care level is built, it will go a longer way to increase access to treatment.
That many individuals with substance use disorders face significant stigma.
Others say treatment gap for substance use disorder and lack of training, in addition to psychiatrics, cost of treatment are some of the major challenges. Although there is no cure for drug addiction, treatment option can help one overcome an addiction and stay drug-free.
They can make someone to kill his parents without feeling it. It is that bad, and these drugs are available. So that's why we are concerned to see what we could do.
The conference is put together by ECOWAS and CRISA, and a communique is expected at the end. Hamban Jabani, NTA News.
Elsewhere, FCT Minister of State Dr. Maria Mahmood has commended NTA Channel 5, Abuja, for propagating and promoting activities of the administration, putting into consideration the wide audience reached in the territory. The minister gave the commendation when she received the management of the station, led by the General Manager, Paul Atte. Aisha Ubali reports.
The people behind the news become the news themselves. This was a clear scenario as the NTA management team paid courtesy visit to the Minister of State, FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood. Over years, the NTA Channel 5 remains the lens with which residents view achievement, development and progress of the FCT. General Manager NTA Channel 5 Abuja, Paul Atte, speaking on behalf of the team, says NTA Channel 5 is mindful of the vision of the station and as such, translation of the news in indigenous languages, focusing FCT and Heroes of Abuja, just to mention a few, are some programs dedicated to FCT residents.
Some completed projects, some still ongoing. I've been in this city for many years, but I'm beginning to miss my roots. Well done.
In her response, Dr. Maria Mahmood assures of the administration continuous partnership and support.
Without you, we wouldn't have gone there. Without information, without media, you can't go anywhere, especially in this sanctuary that we are. So we really have to appreciate and commend all that you've been doing.
Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
The National Human Rights Commission has presented its 9th edition of the Human Rights Violations Dashboard for the month of September. Omenka Amarachukwu reports that the dashboard highlights the Commission's commitment to transparency and accountability, showcasing the complaints and violations recorded during the month of September. A total of 305,300 complaints were recorded for the month.
Whose right immediately are at stake. We must approach our work with compassion and rigor, ensuring that we are not only identifying issues, but also actively seeking solutions for every individual in Nigeria to enjoy the full spectrum of their human rights, freedom from fear and oppression.
The human rights violation data continues to rise. We wish this is one data that we wouldn't want to grow, but unfortunately it keeps growing. However, we have also recorded some downside, especially as regards the killing of law enforcement for the month of September 2024.
The report also shows that the violations against non-state actors were at the top of the chart. Bit on security now. Troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces have arrested violent extremists and informants in Lokoja, Okene, Gwagwalada and Abaji in Kogi State and the Federal Capital Territory. Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba announced this at a news conference in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
There are more than 6 ongoing armed forces operations across the country. This bi-weekly media briefing provides update on these operations. Critical is the elimination of Mehijab, a terrorist warlord in Taraba State, and other kingpins in the region.
Another notorious terrorist leader was eliminated on the battlefield during the week. He was known as Mehijabi. He and his combatants terrorized communities in Taraba State, and we have now made him history. The same fate awaits several other terrorist leaders and their commanders. The troops also arrested violent extremists as well as informants in Lokoja and Okene local government areas of Kogi, as well as Gwagwalada and Abaji area council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
Similarly, the recently unified command structure, Operation Fansanyama in the northwest, is yielding results, leading to the destruction of criminal camps and cells.
With Operation Fansanyama, which is just at the teaching stage, we are already seeing the results, and part of the results that we are seeing is that the terrorists are indicating that they want to surrender.
Details of operations within the last 7 days reveals that troops eliminated 165 terrorists, rescued 188 kidnapped victims and recovered several arms. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu congratulates ace broadcaster and chairman, chief executive officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, on her 62nd birthday. Commending her passion for building a better Nigeria through her various public roles, the president says Dabiri-Erewa has carved a niche as an authority on covering human interest stories, while skillfully anchoring the weekly NTA Newsline program with flair, empathy and insight, as well as efforts at bridging the gap between Nigeria and its diaspora community. President Tinubu praised that Almighty Allah will grant the former parliamentarian many years of good health and service to the nation. In the meantime, former President Muhammadu Buhari has mobilized 10 members of his former cabinet to take a message of condolence to the former Minister of Women Affairs and Social Developments, Mrs. Pauline Tallen, following the death of her son Richard Adamu Tallen. In the message delivered by former Minister of Information and National Orientation, Lai Mohammed, the former president described the deceased as a gem and a rising star whose death is saddening. The former president urged the grieving mother to take comfort in the outpouring of love and respect from all who admired the late Richard. Prayers were said by the delegation for the repose of the soul of the deceased. Now, ahead of the forthcoming African Military Games to be hosted in the nation's capital in November, the Nigerian military has solicited the support of the FCT administration towards ensuring the success of the supporting events. Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu reports on the visit of the delegation led by the Chief of Defence Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, to the office of the FCT minister.
The African Military Games is a window that will attract military athletes from African nations to compete for laurels. Leader of the delegation and the Chief of Defence Staff, Christopher Musa, says the visit is to solicit the support of the FCT administration.
This is the second edition. Nigeria is the second country that is hosting such a grand event. It is to showcase Nigeria in great light to the world. We're expecting over 40 countries so far that are coming with their armed forces. It is part of the renewed agenda of Mr. President, projecting Nigeria to the world.
FCT Minister Yesen Wike says the event will not only boost the economic activities of the nation, but will also put the nation in a better perspective, pledging to provide the needed support to ensure its success.
The opportunity to showcase Nigeria, to showcase the Federal Capital Authority. This African Military Games that is coming up in November in Abuja will also showcase the city called Abuja. It will also show that Nigeria is safe, Abuja is safe.
In the meantime, the minister has constituted a 3-man team to work with the sporting committee to ensure hitch-free event. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
And for more on sports, here is our sports desk.
Minister of Sports Development, John Eno, has urged the Super Eagles of Nigeria to assert their dominance at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium this Friday as they face Libya's Mediterranean Knights. Highlighting the Eagles' current standing in Group D, Eno called on them to demonstrate tactical skill and fully capitalize on the game. The Eagles lead Group D with 4 points and are the only team yet to concede a goal. A consecutive win over Libya would significantly enhance their chances of qualification. Meanwhile, sports enthusiasts have called for the Eagles to elevate their overall performance.
I've gathered a little bit of confidence from the impressive match in the first 2 matches of the African Convention Cup. We are going to this match with a whole lot of confidence, but we can't take anything for granted.
They come with so much theatrics because they're coming from the north. They're the North Africans, but I'm actually optimistic that you will get the maximum 3 points.
Organizers of the foremost anti-corruption marathon have announced the 7th of December for the 2024 edition of the marathon. This year's race which is the 5th installment of the unprecedented global initiative, will be preceded by the National Youth and Student Summit on Anti-Corruption and Drug on December 6, 2024.
The fight against corruption is not a one-off battle, rather a continuous one that requires perseverance and endurance. This is the reason behind this initiative.
I will interact with the armed forces to fully participate in this championship. And also, I would like to invite some of my contemporaries, some friends from our neighboring countries.
In tennis, 22-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal has announced his forthcoming retirement from tennis, with the Davis Cup set to be his final appearance. The 38-year-old, currently ranked 158th, has faced numerous injuries in recent years, participating in only 19 ATP Tour matches during the 2024 season. His sole Grand Slam participation this year was at the French Open, where he lost in the first round to Alexander Zverev in what many anticipated would be his farewell at Roland Garros. For Sports Update, Bright Ebuchu, NTA News.
And that report from Bright concludes Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye. Enjoy the rest of your day.